Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Georgiman and I'm your friendly neighborhood anime and manga fan. I love all things anime and all things manga, and I'm here today to talk about Chainsaw Man chapter 140. So, what did I think about this week's chapter? In all honesty, I think this week's chapter was fantastic. I thought that this week's chapter summarized perfectly what all of the themes have been about in part 2 of Chainsaw Man so far, as well as, what the main part of the story will be going forward, which is pretty much Denji being stuck in a crossroads, having to choose, what he wants to do with his life. Does he want to live a peaceful life? Does he want to, be Chainsaw Man? Because at the end of the day, it seems like no matter what decision he makes between the two of them, somebody's going to get hurt at the end of the day. Now, before we go any farther with this week's chapter, I just wanted to give you guys a quick reminder to make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you guys can be up to date with all my Chainsaw Man as well as all my anime and manga content that I'll be providing in this channel. It really helps out a lot, and I would really appreciate it if you guys could subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if you guys could, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into this week's chapter. So this week's chapter picks up where we see pretty much the sword hybrid and Denji, catching up. They're seeing each other, and then you see that pretty much the sword hybrid takes Denji to the church. And you see this building, and this building has a huge Chainsaw Man head on it, and it looks funny. And it was straight up something that you can picture something like this in a movie or something, because it just looked way too insane that this is actually happening in the real world. But this is Chainsaw Man, so something like this is bound to happen, right? So we pretty much see that the sword hybrid gives Denji he fills him in on how they got this building, and he pretty much says the previous owners, the church, they bought the building from them, and they eventually made it the church. And it's just a little bit of info of how this came to be. And he's like, okay, let's get in there. And we see that they're gonna have a tour guide. And who is this tour guide? It's the guy from the aquarium, the guy that was part of the Chainsaw Man, the devil hunting club in the school. Yeah, he's back. And not just that, we find out that he's confirmed to be Kobeni's brother because we see that they have the same last name. And if I remember correctly, I think his name is Nobana or something like that. But the point is, it was confirmed finally that he was Kobeni's brother, because it was a huge topic within the fandom whether or not he was the brother, because they were both, freaking out, and why not? And they even resemble a little bit to each other. But now it's officially confirmed, at least from what we can guess, is that he is Kobeni's brother. I mean, why else would they have the same name, right? The same last name, at least. And as we see Kobeni's brother, give them a tour, he eventually, fills in Denji of the whole the church, what they're about. And Denji's like, hey, so what do you guys believe in? And then he's like, so you see, this church, there's no adults. And he's like, wait, what do you mean? It's like, yeah, because right now you don't know this, the adults, they, America, they have a ray gun, ultra ray race or something like that makes it so the adult brains get polluted. And right now there's only members that are teenagers in this church, because it doesn't make sense for us to have anybody that can be affected by this ray, and why not? And Denji's just like, bro, what are you talking about? And this was a hilarious moment, because it goes to show just how far deep these people are in the church, because this is insane. These guys are literally QAnon people that are just conspiracy theories, the most wacky of the wacky conspiracy theories. And it felt hilarious, because throughout it all, the sword hybrid just keeps hyping up yeah, these rumors are true, yeah, they're absolutely true, the Americans suck, that the Americans are the worst. And it's just bro, you're being deceived once again. Even past Makima, you're still getting deceived, and it's just tragic, but yet it's so funny. So as they proceed with the tour, we see that eventually Denji stumbles in a room, and he's like, hey, what's all this about? It's oh, that's just the Chainsaw Man chapel. That's where people get married, and yeah, that's where they want to get married. That's the chapel for it. And you see this stupid Chainsaw Man statue or whatever in the back, and it's hilarious. Denji's just for real, what is this? And that was my reaction as well, bro, are you serious? What? And what pretty much the Kobeni's brother tells Denji is okay, so we got into the point now where you're here to get the girl that you want to get laid with, so follow me in this room. You'll get laid with the chick. We already set it up, and then afterwards you guys can get married here. And it's wait, what are you talking about? It's yeah, so after you guys do it, yeah, you're gonna be married. Of course, you can't be just doing it and not get married after the fact, right? And Denji's what? I'm not marrying nobody. What are you talking about? And then Kobeni's brother starts freaking out. This exchange was hilarious, because Denji's just pissed off. He's like, bro, I never agreed to settling down. What? I just want to bang. And Denji, I feel it, man. You're only 16. What is this about? And we see that one of the factors of this cult is that they believe strongly in teenage marriage. and they're pushing that agenda as well. And they, it's exclusively all these teenagers are marrying each other. And from what I've gathered, it seems that, these teenagers are being like either forced or like some way of manipulation of getting married to each other, or like misleading, like, they're gaslighting them like, hey, you should marry each other, like. And I think this whole situation is terrible and very, very messed up, because these are teenagers, they're not adults. They don't know what they're doing, yet they're being manipulated by this cult to, marry each other and, like participate in like, sexual activities. And it's just very icky and gross. And this just red flags all over the place. And what happens is Denji just like, he's like, man, screw this. Like, this sucks. And he starts cussing, like, he starts just going off on the sword hybrid. It's like, bro, what? You told me I was going to get laid. He's like, yeah, after you get married. It's like, no, bro, you suck. Like, you lie to me, bro. You're the worst. And then the sword hybrid's like, what? So what? And it's like, listen, how many, this is messed up, right? Like, you're egging on people with all these lies about like the satellite and all these ultra rays and this, like this marriage thing. Like, this is all weird, bro. Like, you're messing with people's lives. And then, the sword hybrid goes like, yeah, but what about it? I mean, who cares about a couple of people when we're saving a lot of people as well. And Denji's like, what are you going on about? It's like, and then the sword hybrid is like, listen, let's say for every one person we mess up and we ruin their life, we save another 100. Like, what's so bad about that? And Denji's like, no, like, that is terrible. This sucks. Like, you're the worst. Like, you guys suck. And what I find fascinating about the whole situation is that Denji right now is the voice of reason. Like, this dude is the most composed and like he's the most level-headed in this entire situation, which is crazy, because if you would have told me at any point that Denji would have been the most level-headed person in Chainsaw Man at one point in the story, I would have been like, you're crazy. But that just goes to show how crazy the world has gotten ever since the Falling Devil incident and everything after the fact. But what we see is that eventually the Kobeni's brother's like, listen, everything you're saying is wrong. And then you see a person pop out behind him, and then what we see is that this person grabs Kobeni's brother, this shadowy person, and kind of like pushes him aside. He's like, listen, I'll take care of it from here. And what we see is that it's this guy, his name is Barim, I believe that was his name, and we see that he's the fire hybrid from part 1. And this was like, I kind of expected to see more hybrids, but this guy in particular, I was not expecting it. But what we see is that this guy just talks to Denji. He's like, hey, how's it going, buddy? And like, this guy just gave me creeps. Like, this guy gave me complete like weirdo, like creepy camp counselor, like super religious youth pastor, but like weird creep. This guy just, he's red flags. I'm just saying, like, this guy gave me, I was not feeling comfortable when this guy showed up in panel. And what we see is that he just talks to Denji, introduces himself, and they have a little back and forward, and he's like, man, you should join. And then Denji's like, what do you guys need me for? I mean, you guys have that Asa chick anyway, why don't you just get her? And then the guy's like, you're right, you know that cute like devil hunter girl, like, she's pretty dumb, huh, or whatever. And Denji just like, he looks like when they start talking about Asa is when he starts getting like more concerned about the situation. And eventually this guy looks like Denji's like, so what will it take for Chainsaw Man to come back? Like, what if I told you, if you don't transform into Chainsaw Man, I will kill Asa? Like, will that make you so you come back and become our leader, quote unquote? And Denji just like looks like very shocked, like, bro, what? And then this guy proceeds to just pretty much lay it down for Denji and goes, okay, I'm gonna put the scales right now, and you have to pick one of the two sides and to favor, because the scales, it's your decision at the end of the day, which one weighs more on you. Do you rather have a normal life with your with a family, a dog, a cat, and just sleep peacefully, or would you rather just become Chainsaw Man and live a more exciting life? Either one of those, you have to pick one. And he just kind of like looks at Denji like, which one is the heavier one? Which one do you have to pick? And this whole situation to me was very, concerning, because Denji, you see at this moment in time, he's just very, he's shocked. He doesn't know what to do. And pretty much he just tells the guy like, screw you guys, like, I'm out of here. And he just dips, because yeah, I can't blame him. This whole situation was very creepy, and it was very uncomfortable. And he leaves, and as he leaving, the guy just tells like, the fire hybrid, he just tells Denji like, okay, nice seeing you, we'll be keeping in touch, like, I know you'll come back eventually, kind of thing. And he's just like waving goodbye to Denji. He's like, we'll be keeping in touch. And that's pretty much how the chapter ends. Denji leaves, and right now in the story, Denji's at a huge crossroad, because if he were to transform into Chainsaw Man, to save Asa, that would mean that Nayuta would be killed. But if he were to just like, not transform into Chainsaw Man, that would mean that the church will kill Asa. So right now he has to, figure what to do going forward. And I think that's one of the themes in the story, that Fujimoto is expressing right now, which is all about, you know, choice and the choices that you make. And I think another factor that Fujimoto's trying to express with the story so far is that, you know, instead of, you know, letting people egg you on and telling you you only have this choice to do or this choice to do, you can make your own choice and make your own path. And I think that's what Denji's gonna make going forward in the story. I think he's gonna, you know, create his own path and, you know, make it happen. And I think that right now in the story we're setting up a three-way battle between the public safety committee versus Asa and Denji versus the church. I think it's going to be an all-out war, and, you know, what's to come with Nostradamus, we don't know. But right now it's a lot of elements that are happening, and I'm loving every single second of it. But with all that being said, what did you guys think about this week's chapter? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys thought it was alright? Whatever you guys thought, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Chainsaw Man, as well as more anime and manga content in the near future. But yeah, with that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.